hope that you all can hear me tonight. Please, that we are on tonight for the journey, and that we will have a discussion tonight for the topic of unqualified to qualified. To all my Periscope people, thank you for joining in. Good evening, and thank you for joining tonight's session for unqualified to qualified from the journey. My name is Kemley Whiteside, and I would like for you to go to KemleyWhiteside.com when you get a chance, so that you will be able to actually get an idea of who I am, what I do, and also be able to understand the process of why we're doing the journey every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will really appreciate that you share with other people, with your followers, what we're discussing on an every Monday basis about the journey. It is absolutely important that you understand that what we're doing with the journey is really allowing you as an individual to become a better person. It's a process that you're going to be enduring. It's not necessarily giving you just lip service, basically. We're actually working with you so that you can become a better individual in the things that you're doing. One of the things we want to acknowledge is that when you're working in progress as an individual, you shouldn't allow people who are not qualified to tell you anything, to basically have too much voice into your life. Too many people want to tell you how to manage something, how to do something, how to go about something. And most of the time, they're not qualified enough to even give you insight, but they believe they are because apparently they have practiced maybe during their time in their lives, some of the things that they know. So that makes them become already automatically experts. And one of the things that my book speaks about is exactly that. You should never allow someone into your circle of your life, of your everyday routine, to come in and give you so many ideas, so many thoughts, so many everything. But they haven't even shown on their own lives something that's benefiting them or something that has worked for them. That's key to success. And it's also key to understanding why people are constantly giving 2 cents into certain things and they're not even qualified to do it. So our topic tonight is in reference of unqualified to qualified and understanding the difference between both. And you'll be surprised at how I'm going to break it down, because most of the time we're actually taught and told that if you're qualified to do something, I guess it gives you the right to say it. It's not necessarily true unless you have something that backs it up. So qualification is not just saying I'm actually practicing and doing this. You have to have something to back it up in order to have someone give you at least some of the respect that you deserve. We want to earn it, but we don't even have the background to do it. So I want to equip you better. I want you to know that what we're doing is to really help you. And many people have been very blessed by the actual journeys on Monday nights and Eastern Standard Time at 8 o'clock. I really want you to invite people, to tell everybody else how they're going to have improvement in their lives for everyday issues. We're also discussing biblical standards, but we're not just focusing on reading the Bible, reading a scripture, and leaving you hanging without giving you real life, real situations. So the journey basically talks about real talk, real issues, and real solutions. And that's what we practice here, and we want you to practice it at home. So when you are joining in, please bring a pad and a pen so you can take notes, because you're probably going to be needing it during the week. It may uplift you, it may strengthen you, it may really help you, and you will be surprised at how you'll be empowered throughout the week by simply being able to have this session every single week. So on page 89 of my book, there is a topic that is actually called Be Symbolic. That's chapter 13. And in chapter 13, I broke down some of the highlights of the book, and it's actually coming out from the topic of unqualified to qualified. Now, there's a section there that I had to break down so that we can get more of an understanding. Some parts of your life are not meant to be. Not because you were unqualified, but because those who represent you are not qualified. So I'm going to start with that. In the book, when I made that actual statement, I wanted people to understand that when you're being represented by someone, whether you're going to court, whether you're going into a battlefield of anything, You need to understand that someone needs to represent you. First of all, with character and integrity. Secondly, they need to represent you knowing that they have something to back it up. Their qualification needs to meet all of the requirements. They can't half-step the requirements or make it become, oh, I guess I have it because I have experience. The experience comes with it, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're qualified. There are so many people that walk out constantly thinking that they're qualified to do so many things because they believe in their heart that they really are. But you have to be very careful when someone is representing you, they're representing your name. Who you are is very important to the kingdom and to whoever and wherever you go. So if you have someone who does not have the qualifications that they meet all requirements to represent you, whether it is at church, whether it's a deacon board, whether it's a trustee board, whether it's a pastor, whether it's anyone that has a leadership kind of role, if they do not have something to back up why they're becoming that person in your life, then you have to be very careful on how you want that person to represent you. I think it's key that we understand that representation is basically saying that person is becoming who I am. That person is me. So if I'm not around, it's just like having a power of attorney. I'm giving them the power. I'm giving them the ability of knowing that they can represent me no matter where I am, what I'm doing. They have all the power to do that. So now think about it. If you're giving someone so much power to actually represent you, you're giving someone so much power to be a part of something that belongs to you, then you have to understand how much power you're giving that individual into your circle to make sure that they represent you. Because if they're not representing you in the proper way, then that automatically does not give them the qualification of feeling they're qualified. So when I was experiencing this particular issue in my life, it was a court battle that I was actually in for about a year. Mind you, I did not have the means financially to physically say I was going to hire an attorney to actually handle this court hearing. I prayed to God, and he was the one who was my actual judge. He was my lawyer. He was everything. I had to go through that process for a whole year and probably a year and a half. At the very moment, I didn't have the means to do it. So I took it upon myself to get equipped as an individual to basically understand how I was going to represent that situation. I went through a lot of research. I went through a lot of processes. And then I realized, you know what, I can do this through Christ who strengthens me. So I ended up going through the process of actually doing all the paperwork myself, representing myself. Because now I figured if I have someone who's going to represent me and I don't have the means, that person at some point may not really want to represent me 100% the right way. Why? Because I felt like maybe they were going to look at me as someone who, okay, yes, I'm equipped. Yes, I have all the credentials to back it up. But they also I didn't have the means. So why would I want to grab someone and tell them represent me if I don't really have something to offer? So that's very important when you're dealing with clientele or you're dealing with court battles. Don't just find someone to do something for you for the simple fact that you feel you need it, unless you have something to give, because people are always going to want to receive something in return because that's natural. So in this court hearing, I was dealing with a situation where I really wasn't qualified as an attorney to represent myself. That's not my field. That's not what I do. And I certainly didn't want to play the role of saying that I am doing this and that, thinking that I have all the power to do it. But I knew that if I represented myself with God, that there were no chances whatsoever that it will fail because I was doing it to myself. So if something went wrong, I was doing it to myself. I couldn't blame somebody else. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with people or you're dealing with circumstances in your life where things are becoming very hectic. And then at the same token, you want someone to represent you. You want someone to become that person who is dealing with things for you. But at the end of the day, that person does not have the backup of saying I can actually do it. So in my court situation, I ended up actually having a great deal because I was able to represent myself with truth. I didn't represent myself with false motives, with false information, with, gathering stuff just to make sure that I had something to say just for the sake of it. I literally had to prove a lie and make it become notice, because sometimes people will want to dish out certain things, and one of the things that they're not ready for is to receive. So in this particular case, it was easy. I just needed to bring out the truth. The moment you have truth, and the truth is your backbone, you should never have to worry about what credentials you have and how far you can go or how far you cannot go. God will do the rest for you, because even though I do not have a degree in law, even though I do not have that qualification per se to do it, I still knew that I had some kind of background to help me do it, because I do have the background. I do have some knowledge. I do have the understanding. I just simply didn't have that credential of that title to say, yes, you can do it. So I want you to understand that when someone labels you as someone who's not qualified to do something, I'm going to give you the definition of what unqualified means. It means not officially recognized as a practitioner of a particular profession or activity through having satisfied the relevant conditions or requirements. So when I read that, I had to go back to my situation and I said, wait a minute. Not officially recognized as a practitioner. Mind you, a practitioner is basically someone who has to continue to practice in their field in order to become perfected at what they're doing. It's practicing. That's pretty much where practitioner comes into place. You're practicing something. You have experience in that area. You're constantly gaining some kind of knowledge. But then it says activity through having satisfied the relevant conditions or requirements, which means that even though that person is unqualified, that person has gained so much practice, that person has gained so much credentials in the practicing area in order to be relevant for that requirement that is being posted, whether it's a job or whether it's anything else. Because a lot of times people that don't qualify for the job description due to the requirement, they're technically not qualified. They are technically unqualified, but because of the practice, it makes them have some relevancy. So you want to identify two things and understand what they really mean. Don't mix the situation and feel like, I guess I don't have this degree, so I guess I'm not even qualified to do it. You have gained practice in something. You have gained some relevant requirement in something. So that does not necessarily make you someone who's unqualified. It simply means you are a working process to qualifying yourself because you have the practice. And I hope you're getting this, because it's really important for me, even for myself and what I do, that I don't label myself just because it's out there and people are saying it all the time and you feel that's the norm. There are certain things that you have to understand. It's not always what people say that you have to label it in your mind, keep it in your spirit. You have to be very careful how you allow words to come into your mind, into your heart, and impact what you are and who you are. So now the definition for qualified, it says officially recognized as being trained to perform a particular job, certified. So now when you've gained all this practice from becoming an unqualified person, you relevantly gain practice. You've done so much to gain this practice, but the official way of becoming qualified is when you are officially recognized as being trained to perform that particular job. So don't get yourself confused with the fact that when someone tells you that you're not qualified for a job, most of the time it's just because the requirement that they have labeled, the requirement that they put in place, is saying that you don't meet that requirement. That does not define you as an unqualified person. It does not define you as someone who doesn't have qualifications. It just simply means at that particular stage of where you're applying for, you don't meet that certain requirement. Until you meet the requirement by being certified, until you meet the requirement by having some kind of acknowledgement, training of having some particular certification, officially it makes you qualified. So when people tell you, and I get that a lot when sometimes people get upset that they don't get the job they were going for, and they get an attitude and they're telling everybody off. The people that interviewed them was wrong. The manager was wrong, and they're blaming everybody else for it. And I had to understand at some point, why are people always defensive? They get in a defensive mode each and every time that someone tells them, hey, you can't have the job. I can't hire you. But they don't understand why. So instead of being upset, instead of being angry, instead of walking around cussing everybody out, telling people off, you got to start analyzing what is it that you're not having or processing that's causing it to come to that level of you not having the job. Most of the time, it's not because they don't like you, or some people, bring the whole race thing in and they think because of race, they have a problem and the person don't like me for this or that. Half the time, it's not even about that. And I'll tell you it's not. Most of the time it's because if I put a job posting for something, I want to make sure that that requirement that's in that line, it's giving me that ability of saying to that person, you're actually qualified for me to give you the job. I just don't want to assume that all this practice you've gained and all this stuff that you've gotten, that is enough for the position when the position strictly says the requirement that is required for you to have it. So if it says you need a bachelor's degree, if it says you need a master's degree, and you only have certifications, why do you feel the need to get the job or think you should have it? The requirements are in black and white. So it gives you a sense of saying, do I want to become qualified? Do I want to literally be officially recognized? Or do I want to keep bouncing around, playing around and thinking that I have the right because I'm a child of God? Most people do that. I have the right just because I look good, I'm pretty, or I can just get by. That's not the case. And if more people will become a little bit more understanding in seeing where this is going and why it's being played the way it is, they will not walk around constantly blaming society and blaming situations upon themselves. You have to acknowledge for yourself that at some point you're going to need to reach those goals. You're going to need to reach those milestones, because at some degree you can't stay in that same position forever thinking that people are doing you wrong. When you continue to feel that way, then you have become an unqualified person to yourself, because you're thinking that you're not qualified. But in all reality, it's not because other people have given you that information. Most of the time, it's because you have not stepped up to the plate to do greater and to do better. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming society. Stop putting a place in your life where you feel like I need to have this and I have to have it because I am who I am and that's it. Everything has laws. Everything has regulations. Everything has requirements. We all need to meet them. And we need to be conscious that if we meet them, we will be able to have better if we don't focus on the negative of that, if we don't focus on the wrong part of it, because everybody cannot give you the job just because you look good. Everybody cannot give you the job just because you feel you have all this experience. It's back then, back in the day, that might have worked. But nowadays, in the century that we live in today, we need to equip ourselves better so that we can have better opportunities and not blame it on everything else around us. So when you're dealing with job situations, I want to encourage you to try your very best to look at both angles. Don't get stuck. Don't have your mind stuck into that one angle only. Don't have your mind stuck into assuming that if you actually go this way, that person should actually give it to you because favor is upon me. That doesn't work like that. And of course, a lot of people that are so spiritual will go into, yes, favor has me covered. No, you need to get a real degree. You need to get a real certificate. You need to get something that's going to help you advance. That has nothing to do with the favor of God. Favor of God means equipping yourself. That's what the favor of God really means. If you equip yourself, the God that we serve will give you the actual opportunities that you want, because he wants you to be able to have more. But if you don't want to gain any knowledge, anything, any wisdom, then you're going to be stuck, and then you're going to blame everybody else, including God. So try your very best to understand that concept. The other thing that I want you to also understand is that when you're dealing with things like businesses and stuff like that. You know, you have people who do hair, people who do makeup, people who have a lot of different hobbies, and people who want to do a lot of things. I really believe that it's very important that even when someone is doing my hair, I honestly have to see something. I mean, not that I don't trust them, but I feel like it's important that we walk around having in our dominion the qualified mindset. Have under your belt the mindset of being qualified for everything that you're doing. Because if you practice that, you will get to where you need to. If you begin to understand what it really means and what it's going to do for your life, you'll be surprised that all that negative mindset that you keep having consistently will vanish away. You will not even have to be so worried about, why am I so angry? People walk around literally angry because they just don't get what they want because they weren't qualified for it. But they don't understand what they had to do or how to do it. And a lot of times they are blaming other people. So even when it comes to hair and makeup, when you have people coming to you and they're doing these things for you, first of all, have a contract in place. Have something that's going to justify that you have something with this person, a connection that will make it relevant. Because it says, if this person is practicing so much, if this person has gotten so much official recognition because of their experience, they've been practicing this for a long time, how to do hair, how to do makeup, you know, how to even put your resume together. If they have been practicing so much, it comes to a point that now it has to become relevant by recognizing it officially with something. Unless they want to stay there forever and say that's okay. So if you are running a business, whether it's hair, makeup, I'm just using those examples, try to use those avenues where you have something officially saying that you're really a makeup person and a hair person. Just because I see scissors doesn't make you a hair person. Just because I see makeup does not make you a makeup person. You need to have something to back that up. If you want to have clients, if you want to have people who are going to come to you that you feel you need to clientele, maybe if you begin to have an official document, you may be surprised at what that's going to do for you. So don't get carried away with friends that tell you, girl, I don't need to draft nothing. I'm good. I don't need to draft anything. What do you mean you don't need to draft anything? Why do you think you shouldn't draft it? Because I'm your friend? I'm your BFF? I'm sorry. That doesn't work. You know, and that's what a lot of people do. They really do think because you're my best buddy and we cool like that, that it's okay for you to just send me, you know, to do whatever. And then we good. But then when something goes wrong, oh my goodness, it's like, oh no, you did me wrong. But where is the paperwork that said that all these regulations and different things that was going on we weren't supposed to do, but you did it anyways? You can't blame them because they didn't present anything to you. So be very careful when you're dealing with people, even with your friends. Don't get caught up with friendship and think that you're running a business and friendship is going to be good. That doesn't work. You must show yourself professional and qualified enough for people to take you seriously. Because if I'm going to take you seriously, that means I need to have something that you can show me that's going to be backing up what you do, so I can trust that I can leave it in your hands. Because that's what it is when it comes down to being qualified. People will tell you you're not based on the fact that you don't really have something to show. So if that's the case, then show it. So you won't have to deal with that mess anymore. And first of all, you shouldn't have to deal with it if you're doing the right thing. But you put yourself in that place, you put yourself in that position, and then you're crying and you're whining and you're acting like this is the end of the world. You need to be very careful that everything that you do, no matter how simple it may look, even if it's with a friend, if they're doing an event for you, that you should have it in paper. I'm certified as an event planner and a wedding planner. And a lot of people came to me before and said, you know what, I want you to be my wedding planner. I want you to be my planner for my parties and all that. And they were surprised that most of the time that I had a conference with them, that I already had a contract drafted and everything with it, because they didn't think that it was going to be that deep. They just assume I'll get the money, buy what they need, little decoration here, little this, little that, buy the cake, whatever. Then at the end of the day, they wonder, well, why are you giving me this paperwork? Well, because I'm legit. I'm legit. I don't want to assume that I'm giving you a service just for the sake of saying we're friends. I don't want to have you feel like I should give you a little bit of loose corners and cut corners here and there just because we're friends. Because at the end of the day, that's still a business. So when you mix them together and when you start thinking that because you're friends, you should do that, that's the negative side of why people label you as an unqualified person. Because now you're being labeled as someone who's unqualified because you weren't prepared. Being prepared is key to everything. When you're not prepared, you will not gain as much as you need to. You will not have as much as you need to have because you do not take it seriously and no one will take you seriously. When you start taking yourself seriously, you will be surprised that people will respect you more. When you begin to take yourself seriously, you'll be surprised how people will come to you and they will never have the mindset that you should have a little bit of this one moment and a little bit of that the next. You will be straight up all the time, all across the board. You won't even have to worry about, oh my goodness, if my friend comes, I want to give her 50% discount. You won't even have to worry that if you're 100% legit all the way. You don't have to cut corners with people anymore. When people start cutting corners with other people, it's because they really don't feel qualified enough because other people are trying to bully you around. So be careful with bullies that come into your circle saying, well, you haven't been doing this as long as I thought you should be doing it, so I don't think you deserve to get paid that. Wait a minute, but I have something to back it up. So why do you think you shouldn't pay me? Why do you think you shouldn't give me something for what I'm depositing into you just because I didn't do it long enough? So that's another problem we face, that people will intimidate you. They will make you feel uncomfortable because of the length of time that you haven't been doing something. But see, what qualified means is that it doesn't matter whether you didn't practice or not in that field, honey. So this is the awakening call. Qualified means that you were certified, you were officially recognized, you were trained. So even if you were trained today and tomorrow you became qualified with that certificate, that's it. You were qualified. See, the difference is when you don't have the qualification of having a background of something and being trained with something, you lose total control and respect for the things that you want to do. So wouldn't it be in your best interest to have the background, to have the credentials, to even have the certifications, because you don't even have to fight and discuss it with anybody anymore. Because the definition is clear. Once you have officially been recognized as being trained to perform a particular job, that means you're certified, you're qualified. So when someone thinks that you don't have enough experience in something, you need to think twice if that person needs to tell you anything again, because that individual has no idea the terminology of what it means to define on an unqualified person and a qualified individual. You can have all the practice in the world, but if that doctor didn't have the certification, he couldn't perform that actual operation because he was not qualified. And it's simple as 1, 2, 3. We make it difficult and complicated with ourselves because we really think that we have to do a whole lot of stuff, and we really don't have to. So if you're out there today, you have questions and you want to jump in because of a situation that you have, or maybe you want to discuss something, feel free to jump into the seat. Feel free to ask questions also on Periscope. But I want you to know that we need to make a distinction of these things for people to stop labeling us, for people to stop treating us like we are actually less than just because they have had in their circle or in their time frame a length amount of time that is not qualified to yours or it doesn't meet yours. Stop being intimidated by that. And I had to learn that the hard way. When people began to label certain things that I was doing just because I wasn't called that as a title, which is my office, they didn't think I should have done it, or they probably didn't think I shouldn't have even been bothered with it because I haven't been a pastor for 25 years, a pastor for 15 years, and all that stuff. But guess what? I went to seminary. Guess what? I have a degree. Guess what? I went through the training. Guess what? I got certified. Guess what? I was able to be qualified. That's what matters. Of course, practice becomes perfect. Of course, practice is essential. It's important. But the main thing is that you understand how not to allow people to label you, categorize you, put you in a box, define for your life what they think should be your course of your journey of your life, for the simple fact that that's all they see. They don't see you as someone that has great potential because they don't think you have it. They don't see as someone who can move forward because they don't think you have it. And the moment you begin to feel that that's how it is because they told you that, you'll start feeling honestly like you don't deserve to do better and greater, because someone simply labeled you and told you you didn't have the length of experience to move forward with the journey of your life. But when God said that he will equip you, he meant that. When God said that he will do exceeding and abundant in your life, he meant that. So do not allow the situation and circumstances of your life to label you and place you in a box, make you feel unqualified because you don't have a specific certification, an official thing that says I'm actually not qualified. You need the practice, yes. But the key to it all is that when you get to that point, you won't ever have to feel that neither one of them are less important than the other. You need both. In all reality, that's what it says here. You really need both. Because you need the practice and you need the certification. You need to keep practicing so that you could become perfected to be qualified to do what you're supposed to be doing. And then you can take it and give somebody else that same opportunity, maybe help them, mentor them, whatever is necessary. But don't get yourself caught up with the things that people tell you just because they feel this is where you're supposed to be. And the more you understand the definition of both things, how the difference is and why they are both intertwined and they're needed, you're never going to see yourself as a person who's not worthy enough to do the things that God has ordained for your life to do. I really believe that you are qualified to do anything that God has called you to do. He is going to help equip you. He is going to give you what you need in order for you to become who you need to be. With the practice that you have, that does not label you as someone who is not able to be qualified. You can get to that point, but do not listen to people that are giving you the contrary of what that is just to satisfy and appease them. So I also want to bring out three scriptures. 1 Peter 3:21, and it reads, "And the water is a picture of baptism, which now saves you, not by removing dirt from your body, but as a response to God from a clean conscience. It is effective because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ." So it's the same picture that I was actually saying. When it comes to baptism, when you're not saved, you need to be baptized. That gives you the official certification of saying that you're honestly baptized. You accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior and all that. And that officially gives you the right to say that, yes, I am saved. Now, when you didn't get baptized, did that mean that you weren't a child of God? Absolutely not. You're still a child of the King, but you're still not able to recognize Jesus Christ as your Savior, so it doesn't make you saved. So what you need to understand is that when you do accept Jesus, that means that you are automatically entering the place where God is now acknowledging you as going to be saved and all these different things. So you're saved because you got baptized. You saved because you said, I accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. That does not mean that you were not qualified in the kingdom of God to enter it. It just simply means that now you have more of a reassurance, because the qualification of getting into the kingdom was already there when you were still not saved. You just didn't accept it. So it's the same thing with the jobs descriptions and the requirements. There's so many things that you experience with that, and you feel like you should get it. You are the best candidate. You need to have it. But at the end of the day, if you didn't meet those specific words, those little details they put out there when they put the description, that doesn't officially make you a person who's qualified for it. It officially gives you the opportunity to, but it doesn't say that you can be. So when we become saved, we're automatically qualified for anything that we choose to in the kingdom. So if you want to become a pastor, a bishop, a prophetess, God called you to do these things, and that's what he says, that doesn't mean at this point that because you don't have the credentials or the degree that it doesn't give you the opportunity to be someone that can be called for that office. It simply means that now God is saying, I'm calling you for this, but I'm going to equip you better. So I'm going to take you through the process. So understand that this still doesn't mean that you're not qualified. You're just simply going through a process of practicing to get to your qualifications. The other scripture was Colossians 2:16. So don't let anyone condemn you for what you eat or drink, or for not celebrating certain holy days or new moon ceremonies or Sabbaths. One of the things that I had to understand is that when people do not celebrate you and people don't say things to you about the things that you're doing and how great you're doing with this, because most of the time as leaders, you really want to hear that. You need that so that you can continue to empower yourself to help somebody else. When you realize people don't really take the time to say that to you, more likely they don't even say it to themselves. That's the bottom line. They don't even speak life to themselves. They don't even speak greatness to themselves. They don't even know how to. Most of the time, they don't know. So when you face people that don't give you some kind of recognition, at least by acknowledging, some of the things you're doing, it's not to get your head big, pumped up. It's nothing to do with that. It just helps to edify what you're doing and help you to get to the next level, because it's very essential that you get to also have people in your circle, in your surroundings, that are always going to be positive minded, that if you're even accomplishing buying a new car, they can say, hey, I love it. I'm glad. Congratulations. I'm glad that you bought the car. If you even bought a pair of shoes, congratulate the person for saying, good for treating yourself. You need to treat yourself more often. When you don't do that, it's because you don't do it for yourself. And because I do that for myself, I really do it for myself. I'm okay doing it for somebody else because it's natural for me. I will congratulate you for the rest of your life for so many things that half the time you don't even think is necessary. But because I'm automatically, naturally that type of person, and it's already in me to be that way, I don't struggle giving people the recognition and the ability of telling them that, hey, I recognize what you're doing. I appreciate your hard work. It's natural. So if you begin to practice that, you'll be surprised how the blessings of God will overflow, because he is going to actually see your heart. So it's because of your heart that you're really becoming favored. It's because of your heart that God is granting you the things that you desire. So take in consideration, always celebrating others. That's very, very important. Revelation 7:1, then I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds, so they did not blow on the earth or the sea or even on any tree. What that was saying to me and was speaking to me about, the standing of 4 angels in a corner, basically saying God is protecting them from all harm and from all danger, because they didn't get blown away. They were pretty much in standstill position where they were given the opportunity to hold back from that harsh wind. So sometimes, you have people that have to be strong in your life so that they could understand your process of what you're doing with your journey. You can't have people, once again, that only speak certain things but don't act on it. You must surround yourself with people that are qualified enough, that have also the background, the credentials and all of that, because sometimes that's what you really need to get you to the next level. Do not be so prideful in reaching out for help. Don't be prideful in reaching out for help. You need to understand that in order to form a team, in order to have someone who can help you get to the next level, you need guidance, and you also need someone that can help you fulfill it by going to the next step and the next level. And more likely is someone who's qualified enough that can do it for you. Most of the time, people are so prideful that they struggle by calling someone saying, hey, by the way, I would like for you to help me research this or find the answer for this or the other. They really don't want to because they're prideful. You got to leave that aside. Understand that you can't run a company if you don't have laborers. You can't do it. You can't run a school if you don't have actually the staff. And if you don't have students, you certainly don't even have a school. So it's important that we understand that in this phase of life, in this kind of journey that we live in, that we allow God to school us, to educate us, and to give us the essential needs by also going to the people that you know God is going to use to help you. You cannot do it by yourself. I can't do it by myself. I certainly don't want to do it by myself, because it's too much to do and it's too much to try to even accomplish on your own. The stress level that you'll put yourself through is not even worth it. So when you're dealing with certain situations and you feel unqualified to do something because someone labeled you that way, start to analyze, why is it that they said it? Most of the time, there's a reason why they labeled you. And a lot of it is because your record is also showing that you're not doing anything to better it. So it's very critical that you stop putting yourself into a procrastination mode in your life where everything you do is a hold up process. I'm holding this for the next session. No, I'm holding that for next year. No, I'm holding this for the next season. When you start doing that and your pattern is becoming consistently like that, there's no one that's going to take you serious enough to help you get qualified in the things that you need to do for your journey in your life. It is important. It is essential. I want you to practice it. I want you to begin celebrating other people, even going after other people, so that whatever they accomplish, it could be a good example that you may say, I like that person and what they're doing. I need their help. Try to do that and not just label the situation as I don't need it. Most of the time we say we don't need it because we really don't want to reach out to anyone, but we really do need it. So there's a distinction about things in life that we need to place today and we need to learn. Stop going around feeling like you're not able to accomplish things just because you don't have the piece of paper. The piece of paper helps. The certifications are necessary, but you need to aim for that by also gaining the knowledge, the experience, and all of that so that you can get to that place. Don't label yourself unnecessary and unfairly. It wouldn't be fair for your children, for your future generations, and you're really doing a disservice to the people surrounding your life, because now you're setting an example that it's okay to be limited. It's okay to just be this way. And if you aiming for that, try to consider, what did God do at the cross by dying for you and resurrecting? And then here you are not accomplishing the things that you desire, that you have been asking for. That's not what he died for. He literally gave you freedom. He gave you the access, the keys, so that you can succeed. You don't have to be on TV. You don't have to be on radio to feel like you're successful. Your success comes from the things you've been qualified to accomplish in your life. The things that you have been able to do for yourself that make you become sufficient and equipped. You don't need to feel like someone needs to place you on some kind of platform so that you can find success. I don't have to do it. So I know for sure that my success does not come from a bunch of different things of TV, radio, or all these different things. My success has already been accomplished by simply accomplishing the goals and the dreams that I have always aimed for, because I went for it. I didn't procrastinate. So the moment you begin to see yourself procrastinating, take into consideration the future generation. You may not want to do it now. You may not even be interested in doing it, but at least equip yourself to teach someone else, to have someone else be available to hearing you, understanding the process, and you may become that person's mentor that they can go with it and teach other people and even help the generations to come. God did not limit us to just be in a box. We need to stop being in a box. You know, it's amazing how social media can play a big impact into the things that we do, because it's a lot going on and it's so much going on out there that it's a very big distraction. But one of the things that I do for myself is I pace myself and balance myself very well. Some comments can be very harsh from people. Some comments can be very, disgusting and things that you don't even want to hear or see. But one of the things that I had to learn, even with that environment, because of the public eye that I'm in and all this stuff, I had to understand that people are going to be people. And whether I like it or not, I can't help to just simply say, I don't have to tolerate it. I don't have to read it. I don't have to listen to it. The beautiful thing about you being a person who's qualified is that you don't need someone's authorization or permission to make you be you. You can be you without having to ask anyone for some kind of access into making you be who you need to be. You're you because that's who God made you. So don't let certain things that are in the surface of any angle, whether it's at your job, social media, whether it's even at the supermarkets, people looking at you funny and they feel like you're a scum, or they don't even think you're qualified enough to be in certain restaurants or in certain places. You can't go by that, because at the end of the day, what you have to face is what God has for you and what he has equipped you to do and giving you. So all that you needed was that. What everybody else thinks, says, whatever opinions they have is really not relevant. So tonight I wanted to make sure that I gave you the understanding of an unqualified to qualified individual. Learn to understand that both of them are needed. Both of them are necessary, because you have to still be able to be in a practicing mode, in a mode of constantly learning in order to become qualified in the things that you do. Until you continue to do it, you will always be a qualified person. There's no such thing as labeling you as someone who's not qualified at all. It's all in your mind. It's all in your thoughts. And if someone taught you that, they were wrong. So tonight I expect for you to be empowered, ignited. This fulfilling purpose evenings that I do is basically for you, so that you can understand your position in the kingdom and the position that you carry for yourself as an individual. Do not allow certain stereotypes to break you, certain stereotypes to make you feel uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, we have to balance things in life, and we need all good and bad in order to make it better. So tonight, I thank you for tuning in. If anyone has questions, feel free to always go to KimleyWhiteside.com. Go to my contacts page and you'll be able to reach me there. Also go to KimleyWhiteside@gmail.com, and you can email me any concerns, anything that you're going through that may be of help. And please follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Periscope. Also go to Facebook. Friend me or follow me so that you can get updated with everything that's going on with me. It's a lot. So by the time you figure it out, it will be so much on your calendar that you will be surprised. So I want you to follow it so that you will be abreast of what's going on, and I don't have to feel like I'm not giving you an update, because all of the channels are open and available so that you can reach me out and basically explain to me what's going on so I can help you in any kind of way. The journey is for you to have a transformation life. The transformation of your life is what I care about. So I'm hoping that I'm helping you. I'm hoping that I'm becoming efficient for you. And I hope that you give me the feedback that I need so that I can do this better and that I can help you get better. Until next time, thank you. Please go back to the scriptures. May God bless you, keep you, and also guide you with your journey. So thank you once again, and I hope to see you again next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let all of your contacts know that I am here on Mondays, and I hope to see you again next time. Until next time, thank you for joining the journey today. Bye, everybody. Thank you.